So this video is going to be about my experience with COVID and having long COVID. I haven't really put my face out there a lot recently on social media because I've been dealing with this, and I want to share my experience because I know there's a lot of people going through it out there with this long COVID. It's very serious, it's scary, and I'm finally starting to feel better. And this has happened, it's been about, like 4 months, I think, since I've had long COVID for about 4 months, and then I got COVID about 6 months ago, I would say. So I'm just going to go through my experience. For those of you that don't know what long COVID is, it's basically after you've had COVID, you kind of have a break from it, and then all of a sudden all these symptoms come back, and it's different for everybody, and it lasts for a very long time, some for months, some for years. And I was fortunate enough to the point where I'm at about, I guess, 4 months of having it, and I feel like I'm finally getting close to the light at the end of the tunnel. But it's been horrible. And I've joined some support groups on Facebook, and just hearing of everyone's experience, everybody's is really different, and I just want to share mine and maybe help anybody else that's going through it with long COVID or with any other health struggle, anything like that. And so let's just start from the beginning. I got COVID in the beginning of this year, so it was the end of January in 2022. And I didn't know that I had COVID at first because my symptoms, for those of you who don't know, I struggle with some health issues and I have fibromyalgia, and sometimes I get flare-ups where my body hurts really bad. It can be caused or triggered by certain foods, stresses, anything. So my body just started to ache really bad. So I was thinking I was having a flare-up, I was reacting bad to something. That's usually where my head goes first when I don't feel well. And it just felt different. So after a few days, it just started to kind of slowly get worse, and I was like, all right, I need to rest, I can't work. So I just took off time from work, and I laid in bed a lot, and after a couple days, it just turned into crazy nerve pain. And the nerve pain started in my hips, more like in my butt muscles actually, and shot down the back of my legs. And the nerve pain was so intense I couldn't even walk for a few days. It was really hard to walk. It just hurt really bad. It was similar to sciatica pain, which I've had sciatica before, but it was worse, and it was in a different area of the leg, so it was a different nerve than sciatica. So it just felt like my whole entire backside and legs were inflamed really, really bad. So I was like, okay, something's really wrong. So I ended up going to my doctor. I work with a holistic doctor, and I went to him, and he's like, you have some sort of virus. It's a viral infection. I was like, okay, so what is this? Is this COVID? He's like, it could be. I don't know. So he put me on a bunch of herbs and things to help boost my immune system. So after, I think, a week went by, I finally took a test. It was negative, so I was like, okay, maybe I didn't have it. Maybe it was too late to take it. So at this point, I'm like, did I even have it? I don't know. But regardless of if I had COVID or not, I definitely had a virus. So I was talking to them at the doctors. I was talking to some of the people that work there, and they said they heard of other cases of people that had COVID that actually had nerve pain. One girl had it in her hands really bad where she couldn't even use her hands. So I didn't even know that was a symptom. Apparently it was. So yeah, they're like, we're pretty much 100% sure that that's what you have. So I came home, and I tried to rest, and I'm taking the herbs, and I'm still testing to make sure I'm not contagious. I'm not, so I kind of go back to work feeling better. My nerve pain calmed down, but I just felt kind of off. So then a few days later, maybe this is like a week or two after all this nerve pain, I start to develop all this mucus in my lungs, and I didn't realize what was happening. At that point, I'm like, okay, this has to be COVID because the lungs and the mucus buildup, pneumonia is a huge part of COVID or long COVID. So I'm just coughing up chunks of mucus, just chunks and chunks. And I kept thinking, okay, I'm going to keep taking these immune boosting herbs, and I'm going to be okay. But it just kept getting worse and worse. It was to the point where I would breathe in, and then afterwards, like a second after, my lungs would go, ew, they would gasp. I was like, okay, something's very wrong. So I went back to my doctor, and he put me on more herbs to clear out my lungs. And those herbs were amazing. They worked within a day. I felt better. I could breathe better. I felt so much better. And he's like, yeah, you have walking pneumonia. I'm like, cool. So, which is basically pneumonia, but not as bad. You're not as bedridden as you would with full-blown pneumonia. You can basically still kind of function and walk around. Your lungs fill up with fluid. So I got on herbs for that. So finally, after, I don't know, a week or two, that started to clear up. So I was like, okay, I'm getting better. I'm on the right track. And that's kind of the thing with long COVID. It's like, oh, you think you're starting to feel better, and then a new symptom comes up. I also am going to explain later in this video kind of my theory as to what happens to the body when it experiences this virus, at least from what I've gathered and from other people. But anyways, the next symptom that came through was stomach ulcers. My stomach just couldn't handle food for a while. It got really painful. Everything hurt it. I had to go like a couple days of fasting, just not eating anything, and that was terrible. So that lasted maybe a week or two. I only had to fast a couple days, and I just had to eat really lightly. But that was one of the symptoms. And then after that cleared up, I started getting weird pains in my back. And it wasn't like a dull, normal kind of back pain people get. They were like intense, sharp pains kind of underneath my shoulder blades on both sides, where it was just hard to even function or work. And that lasted about a week, and then all of a sudden the pain moved up here. So it completely went away down below my shoulder blades, and it moved up here, and it kept turning into migraines. And it was for about 2 weeks, I want to say, about almost every night, especially after I worked, because I'm trying to work at this point. I'm just not working too much. But I would just get these horrible pains through here, and they would turn into migraines. That lasted a while. Then I had this really interesting pain on my left side, below my ribs right here. I had this sharp pain, and I meditated for a while on it, and I was trying to get in tune with my body and see what that was, and I was like, what organ is this? I'm like, is this my spleen? And my intuition was like, yes. So I looked on, I don't exactly know all the anatomy of a body, so I Googled it, and that's where the spleen is. And a big symptom of COVID and long COVID is an inflamed spleen. So my spleen was very inflamed, and that could have dealt with some of the stomach issues I was having as well. So I got on some supplements for that helped a ton. It was actually organ supplements. It was spleen from a cow. I think it was a cow or it was a pig. I was actually taking spleen pills, and that completely helped it. I'm still taking them sometimes, but I haven't had the pain in a while. So I feel like that's pretty much good now. But it was really uncomfortable. I couldn't lay on my one side. I had a hard time sitting up. It was just a constant pain right here. It was awful. Also, I do suffer from depression, and it got a lot worse. At this point, I'm just feeling really down. My mental health is not very well. I am scared because I'm dealing with this virus, and I don't know when it's going to go away. I don't know what symptom's going to come next. So there was a lot of anxiety and depression around the whole thing. Also, that nerve pain that happened in the beginning, it would come and go. But I also found a supplement that nipped that in the butt really, really well. So it was like a constant battle of trying to find a supplement or something that would help a symptom, because it would go from one symptom to the next, back to another. They kind of all like rotated and changed, and it was hard to get in a routine of taking, okay, I'm going to take these supplements daily. It was more just like, okay, what symptom do I have today, kind of thing. So the nerve pain would come and go. There was one point I felt a little feverish and like had cold sweats. One night I think that happened, where I actually felt like, oh, this is a fever. And then, so with all these symptoms, so I got this virus at the end of January, and then February, I felt okay, and then March is when this started, mid-March. So it was about a month and a half after I got this virus that the long COVID, long viral symptoms started. So all these symptoms happened for, I want to say, either 2 or 3 months, and then the exhaustion happened. where my body just had no energy. I've dealt with fatigue since I was a little girl. I know what fatigue is. I've had chronic fatigue since I was small. It's something I've had to deal with, and I know what that is. This was beyond that. This was, I can't move out of my bed. Sometimes I would, but I couldn't sleep that much either. I could sleep a normal amount. I just couldn't sleep extra. I couldn't take naps. I would just lay in bed kind of like with my eyes closed and my mouth just open, like just, I couldn't move. And this was scary because I thought I was going to have to quit my job and stop working. And usually this hit me, most of the time it was in the afternoon. So after I'd been up for a few hours, it was almost like clockwork. A certain time it would kind of, it hit me. And then kind of be up and down. So I was trying to drink a lot of caffeine, and I would have some shifts at work. I work as a bartender, and I remember working certain shifts where I barely felt like I could pick my feet up off the ground because on top of this exhaustion, it was also this super heavy feeling. So I felt like I was just going to trip over my feet constantly. I remember being busy at work and just trying to like pick up my feet and focus on my feet. Just focus on picking them up. And, but I also intuitively, maybe some of you are like, well, why didn't you just stop working? I felt like mentally I would have gone into way more depression had I just stayed home in my bedroom all day, because I've done that before and I know what happens to me mentally. Also, I felt intuitively that it wasn't going to last that much longer and that I was going to get better in not that much. I guess I just had an intuitive feeling that I could push through and I would be okay. So that's what I did. And then I started a new job and I helped open a new restaurant. That was challenging. And then I went and moved to another restaurant, and I was like, okay, I need extra help. So I met with a doctor and I got put on some prescription stimulants to help me get through work, which helped a lot. I hate being on anything prescribed. I hate being on medication, but it was necessary. And I'm still on it a little bit to help, but I know it's a temporary thing, and I'm grateful that I was able to have that during this time. So yeah, I think the exhaustion was probably the hardest. I'm still dealing with some. I'm still tired. I'm doing a lot of resting when I'm not working. I'm resting most of the time. That's why I haven't been making a lot of videos. I haven't been making a lot of content. I've been wanting to. I've been wanting to so bad. I've had so many urges to, but I had to take care of myself. And I'm still in the process of taking care of myself. And it's interesting too, when I join these support groups on Facebook, and I've read some Reddit forums of everybody experiencing COVID in so many different ways, and there really is so many different symptoms, and my heart goes out to any of you that have been experiencing it longer, because I know there's some of you that have been a year or two with this and are still struggling. I remember scrolling through TikTok the other day, and this girl was sobbing because she's been dealing with long COVID for over a year, and she's like, nothing has helped. I don't know what to do. Well, this is what I've realized through connecting with my body. This whole process has been so difficult, but it's been so beautiful in a sense, because I've learned how to connect with my body even deeper. And I am all about learning how to communicate with our bodies. Like, what does it need? Does it need a mineral? Does it need a vitamin? Does it need meditation? Does it need, this or that? What does it need? Because we're not used to understanding the language of our bodies, and everyone's body has a different language. So, it's hard for me to say that, oh, this is what your body's saying if your shoulder hurts. It's this kind of trauma. Like, I can't say that, because for me it's going to be a different thing. But this is what I've realized, and this is what's helped me, and maybe it'll help you too. Or even if you're not dealing with COVID and you just want to connect deeper with your body on an emotional, intuitive level, this is great too. So when I have seen other people that have healed from long COVID, they talk about certain minerals and vitamins you need to take. This one girl was saying, I healed mine, I took magnesium, vitamin D, and there were a couple other things, and I thought, well, that's not true for everyone, because I was already taking those and I wasn't getting better. So what it seems to be, now this is a theory, I'm not a doctor or a nutritionist, I'm just a psychic medium doing her thing, experiencing life. When people experience this type of virus, I'm not sure exactly what it does in the body, but one of the things it seems to do is deplete your body of nutrients. It's just like, it comes in so harsh on a lot of people that all the reserves you have from all these certain minerals get used up. And then your body's depleted. It doesn't have anything. So, but everybody's body is different. Some people are depleted in this and that, and it's about finding the right minerals and vitamins that your body needs, right? But that can be tricky. It's like, what do? You can get blood work, sure. You can. There's certain testing that you can go through, and if that's what you feel called to do, that can be great. I've done that in the past, and it didn't really ever help me very much. They didn't always test for all the right nutrients. So for me personally, the first mineral that I was brought to my attention that I needed was copper, which I was kind of scared to take, because if you find out about copper and Google it, there's these warnings of copper toxicity if you have too much copper, and a lot of people take zinc, right? Zinc helps build your immune system, but zinc and copper fight. If you take too much zinc, you deplete yourself of copper, and copper is a very important nutrient for your body. And I was taking zinc daily for a long time, not realizing I was depleting my copper. So copper, huge effects mentally for me. Gave me such a better sense of well-being and just made me feel stronger in my body. And I'm not saying if you had COVID, you need copper. You need to figure out what nutrients are right for you. The second one that I found out a few weeks ago was iodine. So I didn't really understand the importance of iodine. Apparently there was, back in, I can't remember what year, but there was a lot of health problems people were having because people weren't getting enough iodine, so they added iodine to the salt. That's why we have ionized salt? Ionized salt? I'm saying it weird. But whatever. That's why we have it in the salt. But nowadays, a lot of the salt doesn't even have that anymore. And a lot of people, like myself, have been eating sea salt because we think it's healthier. Not that it isn't healthy. Sea salt is healthy. There's a lot of minerals, but it doesn't have iodine. So if you're not eating processed foods and you're eating all this sea salt, you're not getting the iodine. So I just started supplementing with that, and since I've been supplementing with that, that's when my energy has started to slowly come back. The point is that our bodies are also unique. And the only reason I realized I needed iodine was because I was meditating and I heard iodine. And I thought, that's weird. Why did I hear that? When you sit down and listen to your body, if you can get into that state, it can be tricky, I know, to meditate. I still struggle with it. But when we ask our body, I'm constantly through this process of being like, okay, body, I love you. Tell me what you need. I want to give you the nutrients you need. And it's not always a nutrient, right? Sometimes our body just needs to rest and take the day off. Sometimes our body needs to vent and journal and express our emotions and heal. Sometimes it's cry. I've done a lot of crying through this process, a lot of release, but I think too, as you're healing and trying to build a stronger foundation in your body, it's a combination of the both. It's the combination of the emotional health, the emotional work, and then the physical work, the minerals, and the vitamins. So, I'm going to show you guys a trick. This is an easy trick. I actually have a couple. I'm going to show you. One I learned from somebody online, and the other one my spirit guide showed me, which I'm sure other mediums use this trick. I'm not claiming that it's like my own. It's not really a trick. It's just a method to connect with your body that's a lot easier than just sitting there meditating trying to listen to it. So the first one is, use one of these. This is a tiger's eye. It doesn't have to be a crystal. It just has to have a weight at the bottom. So any kind of like string with a weight at the bottom. Once you get that, ask your guides your spirit team to connect with it, ask your body to connect with it, and you can ask it questions. So what I do is I say, I hold it up, you have to hold it up with your arm, and I say, move the pendant for yes, keep it still for no. So I ask, I'll just show you right now. I don't know if you can see the whole thing in the shot. All right, spirit guides, body, connect with this pendant. Is my name Megan? Is my name Megan? Yes. Am I on the right path? Yes. Am I giving my body the nutrients that it needs? Yes. Let's see, what else can I ask? Is my name Amanda? No, it's not. But, usually I ask questions about my body. You can ask about certain organs. It's all yes or no questions. But this has been amazing for me too, because a lot of the time I'm not sure what supplements to take in a day. My body's become so sensitive to everything that even if I do need a nutrient, if I take too much of it, I'll get sick. So I can't always tell intuitively how much I'm supposed to take of something. So I'll also use this too for like, okay, I'll ask, should I take my copper today, or should I take my iodine today? And then I ask, like, should I take 1 drop? How much should I take? And then I kind of have like a regimen through that. I also did this with foods, because I knew some foods I was sensitive to, some that I didn't, and I went through all the foods that I could think of that were like yes or no, this is okay for me, this isn't okay for me. So now I have, and for me, I took as like when it's moving, yes, still no, when it just kind of moved, that's more of like an in-between, like maybe or okay. So you have to like see what works for you. But I just feel like this has been, since I've been doing this, I've been feeling better. I'm able to get my body on a good regimen and just get through my day without like worrying so much. Did I take too much of this? Did I not take enough of this? Should I do this? Like, I think when you deal with so many symptoms and then on top of getting COVID and all of these health problems, and it's very overwhelming, and I can overthink in my mind. Am I taking the right thing? Am I not? This has given me a peace of mind. And I talked to my spirit guides about it, and I was like, should I share this with people? And they were like, yes. And I was like, can anyone do this? And they said, yes. And I was like, this is so cool. Like, this is helped me. I'm feeling better. And it's teaching me how to trust in my intuition and my body and connect in just a deeper way with my body and with my spirit team, which has been powerful. I remember thinking not that long ago, I wish I could just have something where I just talk to my body and say, okay, what do you need today, body? What do you need? What nutrients do you need? What foods do you need? How can I help support you the best? And know specifically what it needed, because through my experience with having health problems and the trauma from my past I'm still healing from, my body's become increasingly sensitive to so many things. So if I take too much of a certain vitamin, I'm out for the day, right? If I take too little of something, I'm out for the day. It's like this. I have to find this certain balance, just right balance, a sweet spot to get me feeling okay. And I was just like, man, I wish that there could just be some way to just know exactly what my body needed, down to the detail. And with this, now I finally do. So to me, this is amazing. And I know I'm not going to have to do this the rest of my life. I know my body's at a sensitive state right now because it's been depleted of things, and I've dealt with some chronic viral problems and the fibromyalgia and the candida, and then now the coronavirus. So it's dealt with a lot, and it's been through a lot, and I'm at a time right now where I need something that can give me specific instruction and to be able to connect with my spirit team and my guides and my body and use this method, both of these methods, has given me such a peace of mind and just helped a lot. So I hope you guys are doing okay. I hope this video helped. If you have any more questions about anything that I talked about, comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. I'm also offering new readings based on like health symptoms. So I basically use this method and I connect to your spirit team in your body to see what foods you need. But you can totally do this by yourself. You don't need me. But if you feel more comfortable with somebody supporting you through it, I'd be happy to help you. But you don't have to have a reading with me to do this method. I want to make that clear. But if you do want to, I basically use this method and we go through the foods that you should incorporate, the foods that you should take out, any minerals or vitamins that need to be implemented, and then it also ties in any of the emotional work that needs to be done. And it's very beautiful. I've only done one reading for somebody once. This girl reached out to me and was like, I really want a help reading. This is before I even started offering them. She's like, I really want one. Will you please help me? And she's like, I don't have a lot of money. I was like, okay, I'll do it for cheaper. I want to try this out. Let's do it. And I told her at the beginning, I said, look, I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a doctor. She goes, thank God. She goes, thank God. Because she's just been to a lot of them and hasn't gotten any help. And I can relate to that. And I understand that. And I want to help people. I want to help everybody connect with their body on a deeper level so that they can ultimately heal themselves and trust in their intuition and understand that their body is always working for them. Our bodies are always trying to heal, and there's so much to it. I'm still learning the process. I'm still understanding everything, but I'm excited to make more videos about it and to share more and hopefully do more pick a card readings soon. I just need to make sure that I'm still resting a lot. Did I miss anything? Hold on, I'm trying to think. Oh, you know what? I forgot to talk about one of the symptoms I had. When I had walking pneumonia, I also had an extremely dry throat. That was awful. Yeah, that lasted like a month or so where I just couldn't talk without a cough drop in my mouth. I couldn't even talk to anybody at all without a cough drop in my mouth. So at work, I just constantly had to like lubricate it. Otherwise, I just start choking, like crazy choking. Yeah, that was another symptom I had. That was really hard. Man, I don't wish that on anybody. But also, like, reach out too if you want to email me or anything about if you want some support. I get it. I think just recovering from COVID is a process, and the faster you can find those specific minerals and nutrients you need, the faster we can get you to recovery. Honestly, I really believe that. I'm still learning about it. I don't know everything, but that's how I feel. So I'm gonna stop rambling. I feel like I could keep talking forever, but I love you guys. Comment below anything that you have questions about, and if you need help or support, reach out. I love you guys.